This thought should make you question everything you think you know about yourself. We can make amazing predictions about how quantum particles will behave, take pictures of the edges of black holes, and map out the atmospheres of planets dozens of light years away. However, we can't explain the fact that you are reading these words right now. Faraway galaxies are easier for us to understand than our own consciousness itself. We have broken the code of DNA, split the atom, and made machines that can pretend to be whole galaxies. But how it feels to be you? It's still a complete mystery. The thing we can't explain is the most private and important part of your life. If this main mystery strikes a chord with you, you might want to share this video with someone else who is also thinking about the big questions in life. You could be the spark that lights the way for them, sending out a wave of awareness that brings you both closer together. People have mostly just accepted the world as it was for a very long time. It wasn't because rocks were strong. The sun rose because it always does. It was easy to live. But then, little cracks showed up in this simple picture. The amazing discovery that reality is not what it seems to be was made by mystics, philosophers, and quantum physicists all at the same time. All of them talked about a world that is made up of layers, with each level being deeper and more basic than the one above it. They found something that goes against everything we think we know about life itself. Before we go down this rabbit hole together, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Think of it as a promise to yourself that you will follow your own path to awakening. You won't miss a single part of this deep exploration if you subscribe. Each video is a new step into the mystery. Let's say you wake up tomorrow. First, you go to brush your teeth and get your keys. Then, ouch, you hit your toe on the corner of the coffee table 1,000 times. Your leg hurts so badly that you can't move it. Is this really true? In this solid, steady world, things have weight, gravity works, and that coffee table is always there, whether you look at it or not. The interesting thing about this base we all stand on is this: truth that everyone agrees on is much more complicated than your stubbed toe makes it seem. We think it's the solid foundation of everything, but it's not. Our shared agreement is more like a dream that we all believe in, but we haven't signed anything official. Think about what really happened when you stepped on your toe. The table's light bounced off of it, went into your eye, was turned into electrical signals, and then went down your optic nerve. After that, your brain made the experience of a table. Your pain receptors lit up, sending more signals up your spine. Your brain then used electricity to make you feel pain. This isn't the table or the pain itself. It's all how your nervous system interprets the information it gets after millions of years of evolution. And it is well known that that way of interpreting is not reliable. Think about the well-known checker shadow trick. You've probably seen the one where two squares on a checkerboard look like they are of different colors, but when you take them away from their surroundings, they are the same color. Millions of eyes have seen this, and millions of minds have been fooled by the same mistake. Your eyes are telling you the truth. They are just doing what they were designed to do. But it was never their job to show you the truth. It was their job to keep you alive. Picture mirages in the sand. When light passes through hot air, it makes it look like there is water where there isn't any. It's not your eyes that aren't working right. Physics is making a false reality that your brain takes as real. Many people have died while looking for these imaginary bodies of water. Their senses led them to a convincing lie written in light photons. When we think about phantom limb syndrome, it's even stranger. A person who has lost a limb may still feel strong pain in it for years or even decades. They feel something that isn't there, like an itch, a pain, or even fingers moving. Their brain has a full sensory map of a body part that only exists as a neural pattern at this point. So, which truth is more true? Which is stronger? The strong feeling of the arm's presence or its physical absence? A simple test called the rubber hand illusion can show you how flexible your view of reality is. You hide your real hand by putting a rubber hand on the table in front of you. After that, someone touches both the rubber hand and your hidden hand at the same time. Your brain starts to recognize the rubber hand as part of your body in just a few minutes. You will physically flinch if the researcher then points a knife at the fake hand. Your nervous system has taken a piece of plastic and made it a part of your body. This trick isn't just for fun, it's a big revelation about how your reality is put together. Your brain is always figuring out what is real based on information that isn't complete and is often hard to understand. If our base is this weak, then everything we build on top of it is in question. When you wake up, the world you think is solid isn't solid at all. Each of your nervous systems and the nervous systems of everyone else are working together on this project. And if the first level of reality, the one that seems the most real, is really this fragile, then it's very important to know what's below it. This is because when you don't trust the ground you're standing on, you need to figure out what is holding everything up. Comment: I am looking beyond the veil to support your journey if you're ready to question the reality you've been given. Show that you have the courage to see things for what they really are, not just how they look. Have you ever been sure you saw something move out of the corner of your eye, but when you look, there's nothing there? That's not something you made up. That's a small mistake in the way your brain is building reality. You will never trust your senses the same way again once you know what's really going on. The truth is that your brain is not a camera that sits in your head and records everything perfectly. It's more like a crazy film editor trying desperately to make a movie that makes sense out of thousands of upside-down, jumbled pieces of footage that come in as electrical static. As of about 80 milliseconds ago, your brain finished a complex reconstruction of everything you think you are seeing right now. You are always living in the past few weeks or months. Let's look at something very basic: sight. Light is reflecting off of this screen, going into your eye, and hitting your retina backwards. The image is then turned into electrical impulses by your eye. Then, though, your brain has to do a bunch of amazing things. It has to turn the picture over so that it's right side up, fill in the huge blank space where your optic nerve is, and perfectly join the information from your two eyes into a single picture. That's only the beginning. This is how your brain turns these flat, 2D electrical patterns into a whole 3D world. It figures out how far things are, guesses how they will move, and decides thousands of times a second what things are and whether they are important to your survival. It's not a direct download of what's out there. What you think of as easy sight is actually your brain's best guess of what's going on. Donald Hoffman, a neuroscientist, uses a great analogy to explain it. Your perception is like a computer desktop. It's not like you're touching a real blue folder when you click on a blue folder icon. The icon is just a helper that lets you get around the complicated code below without having to know it. Everything about the world works the same way for you. The things you see, hear, touch, and smell are just interface icons that your brain makes to help you get around. They're not things that the world itself has. When you think about how much your brain makes up without telling you, this is even scarier. Every day you blink about 15,000 times. Every time you do this, your brain erases the dark spot and gives the impression that you can see all the time. Every day you are blind for about 40 minutes, but you don't notice because your brain fills in the blanks. The reason for this is that each species on Earth lives in a very different world. There are frequencies that dogs can hear that you can't. They live in a world with sounds that you don't hear at all. You can't see the ultraviolet patterns on flowers that bees can. Birds use the Earth's magnetic fields to find their way, basically seeing them as landmarks in the sky. We all share the same planet, but our species' evolution has given us access to very different versions of reality. Your brain is set up to help you survive, not to find the truth. In other words, the reality we all agree on is really just the part of billions of separate reconstruction projects going on inside people's brains that overlap. Because our brains are built the same way, we both agree on how the world looks. But you never get a direct view of reality. At any time. You can only see the customized, species-specific version of reality that your brain has made for you. You're like someone who has lived their whole life in a VR headset and thought the simulation was the real world. So now we have a question that should keep you up at night. What is the real world like if your interface is this limited and this focused on survival? We've looked at how your brain creates your own reality. Now, though, we need to talk about something much stronger. Each part of your brain isn't working by itself. It's part of huge, group-building projects that have been going on for hundreds of years and have changed reality in ways that make your own ideas seem small. Let me use money as the most powerful example I can think of. There are numbers in your bank account right now that will decide what you eat tonight and where you sleep. There is no reality to these numbers. A $100 bill is just ink on paper. That's all. But this fancy piece of paper could mean the difference between life and death, freedom and pain. Just think about how silly this is. We've made a powerful shared hallucination that people will spend their whole lives devoted to it. The only reason money exists is because billions of people agree every morning that it has value. There is more power in this agreement than in mountains or rivers. It decides which neighborhoods get clean water, which kids go to school, and which illnesses get money to find a cure. A pure idea or abstraction has more power over people's lives than gravity. Take a look at the world map now. You can see where countries' borders are, but there would be no lines if you looked down from space. They are not real. In spite of this, these invisible lines control your whole life. If you cross a made-up line in the sand, you could become a criminal overnight. If you step from one side to the other, your freedom, safety, and future can all change. Even though these borders only exist in our minds, they are kept in place with walls and weapons. These are what the anthropologist Clifford Geertz called webs of significance. He said that we are animals caught in webs of meaning that we have made ourselves. We get caught up in old threads and are always starting new ones. We teach our children this whole structure as if it were natural. Think about morality. There is no writing in the stars about what is right and wrong. For some cultures, certain actions are holy, while for others, they are the worst thing that can happen. There is no objectively right or wrong because morality only exists in belief systems that people make up. Things like marriage, gender roles, and justice all seem as solid and unchanging as physical law, but they are all agreements made by a group of people that shift and change over time. It's not just a matter of culture. They show that the world of collective belief, the third level of reality, doesn't work the same way as the physical world. The laws of physics can't be changed by voting, but laws, borders, and money can all be changed through collective bargaining. Lots of examples can be found in history. The idea that kings had a divine right to rule seemed real and unquestionable until one day it wasn't. In modern times, the Soviet Union is a great example. An ideology shaped the lives of hundreds of millions of people for decades. It told them who they were, what to believe, and how to work. Then, almost overnight, that whole made-up reality fell apart. There were still the same people and the same land, but all of a sudden they were living in a different world with different rules and opportunities. This level is very strong and dangerous because anyone can join in. You don't just think about and believe these things. You make and keep them up every day. You vote to keep things the way they are every time you use money, follow the law, or fit in with social norms. The truth about this level of reality is that it is not physical, but it has as much power over your life as any natural force. It only exists because everyone believes in it. In the comments, if you believe you have the power to change your world, say so. I am the architect of my reality. By typing this, you make a commitment to choose the beliefs that will help you live the life you want instead of just living in the world that other people have made for you. The different levels of reality we've explored so far are strange, but they're still pretty easy to handle. The things you sense shape your reality, and the beliefs of a group shape a civilization. But at least the world felt solid, and time seemed to move forward in a straight line. Well, science is about to completely destroy those ideas. First, let's talk about the chair you're sitting in. Doesn't it feel strong? It will hold you up. This is where science, on the other hand, hits your intuition very hard. That chair has almost no space in it. As scientists dug deeper into matter, they found that atoms, which are the building blocks of everything, are mostly empty space. Think about this. If you made an atom as big as a stadium, its center would be about the size of a grain of rice on the 50-yard line. In the front rows, the electrons would be like tiny dust particles floating around. The rest of the stadium would be empty for everyone. In other words, the chair you're sitting on, the floor below you, and even your own body are all huge empty spaces held together by forces you can't see. You are not touching matter when you feel something solid. You can feel the electromagnetic force of two clouds of electrons pushing against each other. During your whole life, you have never touched anything. But the fact that matter is mostly empty is just the start. When scientists look at time, they really destroy reality. Time feels like it's always flowing through you. But Einstein's theories of relativity showed that this is just a trick. Time can bend and stretch based on how fast you are moving and how strong gravity is. It's not just a thought. People who stay on the International Space Station for 6 months look and feel much younger when they come back to Earth. For them, time moved more slowly. Your phone's GPS satellites have to constantly adjust for this because time moves faster for them in space than it does for us on Earth. What quantum mechanics shows is much more important than this. At the very small scales, particles are not solid things. They are waves of probability, or a mathematical smear of possibilities. An electron only falls to a certain spot when it is being watched or measured. Before that, it is in a state of superposition, which means it is in more than one state at the same time. Things happen that shouldn't be possible because of this. As long as two particles are linked by quantum entanglement, they will stay linked even if they are very far apart. If you change the state of one particle, its partner will change states right away too, even if they are on the other side of the universe. This is what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. "We live in a participatory universe" was the best thing that physicist John Wheeler ever said. He meant that observing doesn't just show what's there, it also makes things that are there. Reality has to pick from a list of options because of how you measure it. Take some time to think about this. Our scientific tools were made to help us find out what is really true. We thought that better tools would help us see things more clearly. Rather, each new tool has shown us that reality is less solid, more strange, and more based on how we look at it. We can't find solid ground no matter how hard we try. It just disappears into a sea of possibilities. Please take a moment to like this video if this look into the quantum nature of reality is making you think. It's more than just a click. It's an energetic yes that shows you agree and strengthens your connection to the idea that you assisted in making the universe. Are you interested in the idea of a participatory universe? To share your energy with the group, write in the comments, "I co-create my world with every observation." This is more than just a statement. It's an acknowledgement of how important your consciousness is to the beautiful dance of life. That made you think quantum mechanics was weird. You thought it was shocking to learn that money is a group delusion. Prepare yourself because what we're about to look at could make everything else look easy. At level 5, we have to really think about whether any of this is real at all. Your body, your memories, this very moment. This is what the simulation hypothesis says. And it's not just fantasies. A lot of smart people around the world are thinking about this big philosophical idea. What if we are living inside a big computer program? The logic was laid out by philosopher Nick Bostrom, and it is hard to argue with it. He thought that if a civilization ever got smart enough to make simulations of conscious beings that were true to life, they would run millions of them like crazy. Do the math now. Why do you think you might be in the one real reality if there is only one base reality and millions of fake ones? Based on statistics, You are much more likely to be a computer simulation than a real person. Take that in. It's possible that everything you think is real, the way your body feels in your chair, every memory you have, and every emotion you've ever had, is all just data being rendered in real time by an incredibly powerful computer. You might spend your whole life just processing information. The laws of physics are not important truths. They are just the rules that make the simulation work. Just think about how quickly video games have changed. In just a few decades, we went from Pong to virtual worlds that look like real life. Imagine that progress going on for a very long time. In the end, you'd make simulations that were so realistic that the beings inside them would have conscious experiences and not know they weren't real, and it would be very hard to tell from inside the system. QM's strange rules might not be a big mystery in the field of physics. It could be that the universe is just being efficient. It's not necessary to keep a particle in a certain state if no one is looking at it. This is like how video games only show the world that your character can see. Reality might only render itself when someone looks at it and makes it do so. This opens up the scary idea of nested realities, or a simulation inside a simulation. The intelligent beings who made our universe could be simulations that don't know their own reality is fake. The philosophical repercussions are huge. If the choices you make are just part of a plan, what does free will mean? If other people are just smart NPCs, does morality matter? If we believe in the simulation hypothesis, we have to think that reality could be all about computations. That time, matter, and consciousness are all just different ways that information sets itself up in patterns. We are now wondering if existence is fundamentally different from all the things we have thought about. This is going to really blow your mind. A very long time ago, people in ancient civilizations were shouting from their temples what quantum physicists are only now starting to whisper in their labs. Though we feel smart for figuring out that reality could be a simulation, or that consciousness shapes what it sees, mystics from all over the world have been saying the same thing for a very long time, even before writing was invented. Hindus in the past called it Maya, which means the great illusion that makes you think this world of separate things is real. They told you that what you're going through now is like seeing shadows dance on a cave wall and thinking those shadows are the real dancers. Reality is called Brahman in the Vedas, which were written more than 3,500 years ago. Brahman is one field of consciousness that only seems to be split into different forms, like how one ocean looks like a lot of different waves. The main thing the Buddha taught was a very different view of reality. He said that everything you think is solid, separate, and eternal is really empty, linked, and changing all the time. The early Gnostic Christians, who had nothing to do with these Eastern traditions, also came to the same conclusion. They taught that the physical world was a trick meant to keep you from realizing that you are divine. It's amazing how consistent this message is across cultures that have never met. It is believed that everyday reality is not as real as it seems, and that there is a deeper, more fundamental ground of being beneath everything you know. This is the main idea behind Australian Aboriginal traditions, Sufi mysticism, Kabbalistic Judaism, and Native American spiritual practices. You might think this is just an old myth, but people are still reporting these kinds of experiences, and they sound a lot alike. After years of practice, serious meditators say that the solid world starts to look see-through. They lose the line that separates them from the rest of the world. You are sitting on a cushion one moment, and then there is no one or the cushion there at all. There is only one continuous field of awareness that is more real and vivid than anything you have ever felt or seen. Huxley called this the mind at large. He thought that our normal consciousness is a filtered version of something much bigger. His words were like a reducing valve that blocks out most of reality so we can go about our daily lives. But every once in a while, that valve opens, and we see what has always been there, just below the surface. Now we get to the main idea of level 6. Real life is not something you live in. Reality and everything else you thought was separate from you are both parts of you. When we are normal, you feel like a subject looking at a world of things. But when people are in these mystical states, that difference falls apart. There is no longer an inside and an outside. There is only one vast, unbroken whole that manifests itself in all the transient patterns of experience we call life. There is only unity. If these states feel more real than normal life, as many people say they do, then which one is real? It's possible that modern science has been studying the cave wall's shadows without looking at the light that makes them. Comment: the universe is within me, if the mystic's vision of unity resonates with your soul. Let this be a strong reminder of who you really are, a single wave waking up to the fact that it has always been the ocean. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. In those very old words, the wise man Lao Tzu said something that Western philosophy and science are only now starting to grasp. As soon as you try to describe ultimate reality, it escapes your grasp. You are left with only ideas, like a map that can never show how beautiful the real place is. Now we're at the seventh and last level, and none of our maps work. What we thought we knew about the moon, from quantum mechanics to mystical traditions, turns out to be nothing more than a finger pointing at the moon. This is the ultimate mystery's groundless ground, where words fail and wonder is all that remains. Think about how far we've come. We began with a world that was solid and predictable. Then quantum mechanics broke that down and showed us a reality that isn't real until we look at it. It was shown that consciousness could be the key and that reality could just be a simulation. We connected with ancient knowledge that saw through the lie of separation a very long time ago. But when you look back, you see that each level showed you something even stranger. There is a world. That you are here, right now, aware that you are aware and thinking about how strange it is that you exist. Reality is no longer something you can look at from the outside at this level. It changes into something you are all the time. The word water is not wet. A country's map is not the country itself, and whatever reality is in the end, it is beyond any idea we can have about it. It's possible that this inaccessibility is the best way for us to understand. Truth isn't a puzzle that needs to be solved. It is the setting in which riddles show up. It is the void from which all existence springs, the silence that lies behind all thoughts, and the mystery that lies behind all scientific measurements. There is nothing outside of your own consciousness that you have ever experienced. All of the scientific ideas you've learned and all of the spiritual insights you've thought about showed up in your awareness. Stepping outside of your experience to see if it fits with the real world is not possible. The deepest truth might be that there is more than one thing that is real. It's the process of layering itself. The next level is hidden by the ones below it. Quantum weirdness hides in the classical world. The mystery of consciousness is hidden by quantum mechanics, and at the heart of it all is the unknown. It's possible that the point is not to know the answer, but to love the question. The strange things we've found aren't problems that need to be fixed. The point is that it's strange. We can have life, learn, and have experiences because of the mystery. We've looked at 7 levels of reality so far, and they all follow the same pattern. This loop is so basic that it could be the very thing that makes life possible. A particle is a wave of possibilities at the quantum level until you look at it. Your measurement does more than just find reality, it also makes it. The same thing is true when you move up to consensus reality. A lot of people agree that money is valuable, so it must be. If you take away that agreement, the value goes away. Consciousness is typically thought of as taking place within reality. That the universe changed over billions of years and eventually made brains that could think and feel. What if we have it all wrong, though? What if consciousness doesn't come from reality, but through reality? Think about this. Consciousness and reality may be stuck in a feedback loop that never ends, with each creating the other in a dance that never ends. Reality paints the picture on which consciousness appears, but it is consciousness itself that paints the picture of reality. They both come up at the same time, so neither one comes first. This loop is all over the place. The questions we ask shape the answers we get in science. What we can see is shaped by the tools we use. Reality and our consciousness change at the same time. What you think about the world affects how you act, which in turn leads to experiences that back up what you think. Reality is made by your consciousness, and your consciousness shapes reality. This is why both ancient wisdom and modern physics are starting to point to the same amazing truth. The idea that there is a gap between you, the observer, and the world, the observed, is just a story, not the real truth. A tiny consciousness living in a huge universe is not you. You are how the universe learns to be aware of itself. Press the like button to show your support if you agree with the statement. As you recognize your sacred role in this cosmic dance, do something physical that grounds this deep realization in the present moment. This is a big change in how I see things. Comment, "I am the eyes of the cosmos," if you believe that the idea that you are the universe experiencing itself is true. This is an act of recognizing your beautiful and important part in the great unfolding of reality. It can be hard to handle the first time you really understand that reality works on all 7 of these levels at the same time. In consensus reality, you have to pay your bills, even though you know that money is a group agreement. You have to use your senses to get through traffic, even though you know your brain is only making a rough map of the world. It's not important to pick a real level. The goal is to be able to speak all of them well at the same time. Imagine speaking multiple languages. When you speak another language, you don't forget the first one. You just switch between frameworks based on what you're doing. You can fully participate in our shared social world while also recognizing how it was made. When you look at a sunset, you can see not only how beautiful it is, but also how your brain turns electromagnetic radiation into something you can feel. The magic doesn't go away because of this awareness. It makes it stronger. When you change your beliefs, they stop being prisons and start being tools you can use. Scientific materialism can help you fix your car, and mystical ideas can help you think about what your soul is like. Living with awareness of the ultimate mystery doesn't make one feel hopeless. Being deeply thankful for the fact that anything exists at all is what it does. This is something you can do every day. As you brush your teeth, you can think about the scientific reality of the bacteria in your mouth, the perceptual reality of how your food tastes, and the ultimate mystery of why you are here to experience any of it. In an instant, it changes a boring task into a tour of the real world. Don't worry about going crazy. The goal is to find out what its real dimensions are. You're not trying to figure out what life is all about. It's helping you get better at dancing with it. You can't get away from the layers of reality. You just learn to ride them with grace, awe, and a deep appreciation for the amazing, multi-dimensional work of art you are. This knowledge shouldn't be kept secret. If this journey has changed you, share it with people you think are ready to hear it. By getting this message out there, you help create a global community of conscious creators and seekers, which makes our awakening stronger as a whole. The search for consciousness is an ongoing process. To keep exploring deep with us, subscribe if you haven't already. You are still on the path of self-discovery, and we are here to walk it with you. This trip is only the start. If this exploration has given you new ways to see things, make a promise to go through them by writing the comment, "I dance with the mystery." This is your promise to live a life full of wonder, curiosity, and being aware of and taking part in all 7 levels of reality.